Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we are live.
Yeah, here we go.
Hey, Gary, I
Here we
noticed
go.
that every time I say we are live, you have a big smile on your face. It's like
Yeah, I find
it
it comical.
triggers.
It
It's like
amuses me. Hold on, I need some more coffee.
coffee. It's
Mm-hmm.
like 1 p.m. right now.
Yep. It is, isn't it? And I still need it. Hey, before we get started, PTSD versus Jiu-Jitsu. Warrior's next adventure. Nick Ron was a guest on the show, and he is out there doing a phenomenal job. And he is right now going around the country, and he is helping people with PTSD through jujitsu. And I just wanted to mention real quick, when this comes out, this episode here, he will be at Victorium Athletics in Lancaster, California. That's on April 29th. April 30th, he'll be working with Dean Lister and Chris Lieben. May 1st, he's doing a surfing camp in Pendleton. And Northern Pine Brewing, there'll be a fundraiser and a concert and a raffle with a grand prize, a fishing trip with some UFC greats. And that's on May 1st at 3 p.m. Go to the website, Warriors Next Adventure, and check them out. He is doing amazing things, and follow this tour. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, doing amazing work for veterans with PTSD through recreational therapy and jujitsu.
And jiu-jitsu, yeah. And we have this privilege to partner up with him in a sense where he's going to be visiting our academies in several weeks away from now. But the point is that he's going around the country visiting these different academies and really raising awareness for the PTSD versus jiu-jitsu while he's filming his documentary. So make sure you guys go to his website, warriorsnextadventure.com, and check out all the details. Check out where he's going to be. He actually might be in your area. So worth taking a few minutes and taking a peek of what's going on with Nick. And then don't forget about our giveaway, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Fuji
Fuji.
Geese has been giving, a ridiculous sick job with these geese, giving them away for the listeners. So make sure you go to our website, therawradio.com, and submit. We recently talked to one of our loyal listeners, Larry, who submitted about 70 times. We told him, Larry, you don't have to submit anymore.
No,
Shout out
once
to
is
Larry,
enough.
by the way. Larry's a good dude. But you just need to submit it one time, right? Just one time, and we'll draw every single month, and that's coming up soon. But so
Yep,
far,
next week will be another.
yep, 3 winners so far, and all of them are really happy, really stoked with the geese. So make sure you take advantage of that. All you need to do is just go to our website, drop your email address, and life is good.
Yeah, maybe a free Fuji gi. So check it out.
Check it out. So this week we had a privilege to talk to Junny.
Yes.
What amazing story! What an interesting story, man. More we have these conversations, more mind blowing it is to me. How these guys, one, they start. It seems like all of the guys that we talk to, coincidentally, their jujitsu journey starts by accident, and two, it seems like a lot of them go through a lot of struggles
Yeah.
in
Yeah, for
life
sure.
before they achieve the success in their life. So there were so many, I think, little gems, little underlining messages behind all of these stories that these guys share. And obviously, if so it happens that some of these little messages between the lines give you guys, little motivation or
Sure.
or drives you towards having a discipline. Do you see how I did
I
that there
see
right
that.
there? Do you
Yeah, I
see how I
did.
did that right there?
Yeah. Yeah. It was, you didn't stumble at all. Yeah. So something interesting that Junie said is he's one of the most disciplined people he knows, and he prefers to say discipline over motivation for his own reasons. And when I started thinking about it, I could see that too, especially in my life. Um, when I have positive results, it's because I've been disciplined about something. I may see a movie. I may, get inspired by somebody on this podcast or a different one, or an interview with somebody, or read a book, and I'm motivated. But I think that motivation is fleeting if I don't have the discipline to follow through. I forget who I was reading. I was reading a story somewhere, and it was a woman who had recently lost a bunch of weight by running every morning, and she couldn't get started. She was motivated by all these things, but she couldn't get started until every night when she went to bed, she went to sleep in her running gear. She had her shoes right next to her bed. She had multiple alarm clocks set so that she was disciplined enough to get up and get going. And it wasn't motivation. It was, I need to be disciplined. I have to have these things and obey these steps that I've set for myself to get out the door in the morning. Otherwise, I didn't have breakfast today. I'll go after breakfast, or I'll go later today, or I can skip a day. It's no big deal. And even if you do get started and you see some results, if you're not disciplined about it, you'll probably revert back to old habits.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, at least in my eyes. Discipline is more of an automated action that does not require much of a decision, and motivation is a trigger for
Mhm.
us to make a decision to execute. And I think
Yeah.
these are the two different things. Matter of fact, one of my favorite quotes: "Discipline is built by consistently performing small tasks of courage." I have that written down. It's something that sticks in my mind consistently, because you don't have to think. And it's
Mhm.
sometimes those little things, like having shoes next to the bed, having, so you don't have to think about it. It's just there. Having your bag packed up with your gi and belt and everything else. So you just pick it up and go, right? Matter of fact,
Mhm.
I recently had a conversation with one of my students, and I said, I have extra gi in my trunk, extra clean gi in my trunk all the time. Like, I mean, legit, right now, you can go in my car and check. There is an extra gi in my trunk, sitting there. And, I use it when I need to, but there's no excuse, the point, right? So
Mhm.
you can take steps to eliminate these decision points,
Yeah.
as life unfolds, because we all know that shit happens, right? I mean, things come up,
Mhm.
things that are completely out of our control, and sometimes the motivation is often impacted by those things that happen out of our control, right? I had a long day. I have extra homework. I need to complete this project, or I wanna do blah, whatever the case, or I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
My back hurts, or my head hurts, or whatever the case is, and we have to make decisions based on that.
Yeah.
It's just
And I think, well, I was just going to say, I think discipline takes those decisions away from you.
yeah.
Here's A, B, and C, and that's what's going to get me to D. And if I do this and push through, I can do it every time. But if you're looking for motivation on outside, well, before we started this, you said motivation is reactive, and you can react in different ways, right? You know, I can positively or negatively. I can make an excuse or a reason not to do something. But if I have the discipline and I have the steps necessary every day, um, you know, somebody like Junny who gets up at 5 in the morning and has to cook his own, he's not making a ton of money. And so he's got to make his own food. And it's got to be healthy food. He's got to be teaching a morning class, and then he's training the rest of the day. And then he's got a long commute home, and he's got to eat properly, right? To fuel his body for competitions. He's got to prepare lesson plans. He's got to he's got to watch tape on his upcoming opponents. And if he doesn't have the discipline to do all that, nobody's going to do it for him. And I think once you start being disciplined, and it's really a big part of your life, I think then it's easier to find motivation, right? You're disciplined to get to your goal, and you've got there. Now you need a little bit of motivation to get you to the next one. but you know how to get there because you got to the first one. Does that make sense?
No,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
I
Yeah.
agree. No, absolutely. It's more thinking if, I mean, motivation is also important. I mean, let's not underestimate the fact of what motivation could do to us. It's a very important factor of our lives and what we're trying to achieve, especially when it comes to goal settings. But in my mind, what I'm thinking here is, in respect to jujitsu, motivation would be something like, I want to learn jujitsu, I want to begin jujitsu. And then discipline would be, I'm going to be regularly attending classes or showing up on a mat X amount of
Mhm.
times, whatever is going to make me successful. So the motivation I should not be motivated to get on the mat or get to the academy. I should be motivated to accomplish this larger task, and showing up should be fairly automatic, right? It should be without much of a decision, right? Am I thinking correct on this? What do you
I
think?
think so, but I think it has to be um, regimented. It has to be, I get up at this point,
Hmm.
I eat this at this time, I'm out the door at this time, at the academy at that time.
Hmm.
And like you said, you can't, it's easy to build in excuses. I don't have a clean gi. I forgot my gi.
Hmm.
Those are all easy ways to skip out on classes. And if you are disciplined and have everything where it needs to be, when it needs to be there, um, those excuses become fewer and fewer. And I think that because of that discipline, you're going to move forward.
Yeah, you know what? This reminds me. Actually, completely forget about this story, but this reminds me of this interesting individual I met a while back, and this was, I think, when I was a blue belt. But he was telling me that it was an individual in corporate life, pretty well successful, pretty successful with his career and so on, and not to stretch this out, but he was extremely busy. And one of the things that he told me, and I thought he was crazy until this moment just hit me again. He said what he was doing is he had 9 geese, and he labeled them based on a day, and he trained 6 times a week, and he only had 45 minutes for training, and he knew if he missed his schedule, the day was out. Like, he couldn't go in because of meetings and calls and other things, and he was a day tech trader. And anyway, it's just crazy schedule. And so he had his geese labeled, and he washed all of the geese on Sunday. He got them folded, prepared. So all he had to do is literally pick it up and go.
Mhm.
And that's what allowed him to be very efficient and make the classes, right? So I asked him, well, wait a minute, you have 9 geese and you train only 6 times a day. And he goes like, well, yeah, because sometimes I train twice.
Mhm.
Those were the perks. Those were the extra
Right.
times where I could slide it in. I was like,
Yeah.
ah.
Smart, smart. Yeah, I think that you know, it, all I can keep thinking about really is that when you're disciplined and you have this routine that you stick to, it takes all the excuses out. It takes all the you can't pass the buck in any way. It's all on you. You have to do it. And that in and of itself, I think it could be motivating. Look,
Hmm.
I have to do it. Nobody can do it for me.
Hmm.
And that helps you push through as well. But I think it's hard too. And we talk about writing things down a lot, goals, write your goals down. I think maybe planning your day is a good way as well. Write down your day. I'm getting up at 7, by 7:30, I'm in front of the computer doing my work or whatever it is, 8 o'clock, I'm eating, 8:15, I'm out the door. Who knows? Whatever your schedule is, who knows? Everybody's is different. Everybody's got different work life. But if you have that written out in front of you, it's a motivating factor, right?
Hmm.
And then I think so then they start going hand in hand. Maybe you see your accomplishments because you're disciplined, and that motivates you to do more.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, all that has a huge factor on how successful we are, and then obviously surrounding yourselves by people who make it successful for you, or help you make it successful, not successful for you.
Mhm.
Rewind one more time. Who help you make this successful is important too, right? Your support network, right? But I think about it this way: how many times you didn't feel to go. You didn't feel like going to the academy. You just had a crappy day. You're just not in the mood. You're ready to sit down. What did what does Cruz say? Thursday.
Here we go again. Thursday night football, the couch, a beer.
Is the biggest competitor of jiu-jitsu. But how many times do we feel that way? Right. And if you're listening to this right now, think about it, just reflect on it for a little bit. Like, how many times do you feel like not going to jiu-jitsu, not going to the gym, not going for the bike ride, whatever the case is, you just don't feel like it, but there's no real reason behind it. Right. And
I was just talking to somebody about this.
And then take it to the next level. Once actually you showed up to the academy and you saw all the people that you're going to train with, how did that change your feeling? I mean, there's endless amount of conversations that I had with students. It's like, man, this day sucked. But I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was just talking to somebody about this, one of your students who his children attend the academy too. And one of them, he was saying, doesn't like to come, but when class is over and she's in the car, she's like a new person. She's excited. She's happy. And he said he feels the same way too. He was like, I really wasn't going to come tonight, but I pushed myself and and I'm here. And I was saying, in response to that is, if you stay home and you miss class, you'll regret it, but you never regret going. You never regret going to class. Class is over and you're like, man, I can't believe an hour and a half ago I was saying to myself, I didn't want to be here. This was awesome. I'm so glad I came. You bonded with people, you had a good physical activity going on, maybe you had some success, you learned something, all those great things that come with it. But that if you spent that hour and a half at home doing nothing and you looked at your watch and it was class, class is ending about now and everybody's giving each other high fives, you're going to regret that. And I think that having that discipline to make sure you're there all the time, those feelings of not wanting to be there will become less and less.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. That was actually a smart thought on your part. How did I go one more time? No, I'm serious. How did I go? You'll regret when you stay home, but you will never regret.
Yeah, you don't regret going. You'll regret. And this is a goofy thing that I think about in life too. Is you always regret the things you didn't do rather than the things you did do, even if you make mistakes. But in this particular instance, what we're talking about is you will regret not going to class. You will never regret being there. Once it's over, you feel accomplished. You did something productive, But if, like I said, if you're looking at your watch at 9:30 at night and in your mind's eye, you see everybody high-fiving each other on their way off the mat because they had an awesome night, and all you did was sit on the couch and drink beer and watch Thursday night football, you're going to regret it.
Well, so in words, quoting Junny from the episode, set your goals correctly and be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
There you go.
Be real.
Be real.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, let it go. I think cool. I think this episode is worth tuning into. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to Junny, amazing story, very intriguing story of a lot of his life, but also there's a lot of gems in there. So take notes. Get some takeaways.
Yeah, for sure. Junny's got a great story. He's got a great outlook and the things he's overcome.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing.
On to the next one.
For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.